Welcome to episode 86 of Broad Street Hustle. We got an action-packed show tonight. We're going to do the typical Eagles recap. We're going to do an Eagles preview, of course, but then we're going to take you around the league. We got 3 games left. We're getting closer to the playoffs, but the playoffs are not decided. Who's in? I mean, they could change from the division to the first team in to the first team to the last team out. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to give some predictions where we think everybody is. So I'm your host, Tommy Nanny, with my co-host, Jason Sayed.
What's up, Tom?
What's up, Jay? And I got our other host, Jimmy the Chalk.
Second verse, same as the first. If you know, you know.
And the return, as it says in the bottom screen, of Christopher Michael Meeker.
I have made my triumphant return.
It's a tongue twister. It's Christopher Michael Meeker, right?
I should be used.
Tough.
It's been about 86 shows or so. I should be used to it by now.
It's still a tongue twister.
So yeah, let's I guess we'll jump right into it. So I just want to preference. We're going to talk about the Eagles, but we recorded Friday, Thursday. I don't even know when we recorded. It might have been Thursday. After we recorded, the Eagles announced Jalen Hurts was sick, right, and not practicing. Slay had surgery, and they fired their defense coordinator. So 3 crazy things that happened after recorded, and the Geno Smith seemed like he was going to play, but then his whole thing was a little odd where he dressed and then didn't play. So just a little preference before we jump in. Jason, take us away.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think they were a fraud 10-1, a fraud at 10-2, a fraud at 10-3. I still think they're a fraud at 10-4 with or without all the things that happened after we recorded the last show. They have like an 8-6 feel to me as a team. We could go through game after game of, they should have lost the New England game. That probably should have opened our eyes to start the season, but we won't go into every game. But my whole thing from from the Seattle game was I thought Carroll coached an awful game strategy-wise. Like, why aren't you throwing the ball and being more aggressive, trying to get the ball to Metcalf and lock it against that secondary and that pass defense? Like, I don't know what he was doing. He was way too conservative. Maybe obviously because it was lock. I don't think there's a huge drop-off.
I don't know if that...
It was wet. But I don't think it's a huge drop-off from Geno Smith to Locke. I mean, maybe a little bit. Probably a little bit. But I don't know. I thought they could have won the game a lot easier than they did. Hurts was awful. 21. Who's that? Sidney Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Was not good.
Played like Murphy
Abomination.
Brown.
No pass rush. Like I said, we'll get back to Hurts. Hurts, 17 turnovers. I think he's tied for the league lead with a couple guys there. I mean, he's just not been good. Quarterback school, unfortunately, was behind a paywall this week for Hurts. So I don't know if Chalky, did you spit out the whatever it is? No, I didn't either. But, I mean, obviously, like, he was missing guys that were open and,
Even those screens he was throwing were, like, high. They were, like, floating. Like, by the time, I mean, they didn't block well, but.
He was sick, but, I mean, he's not been good this year. He just hasn't.
He's, to me, number one reason why the Eagles are struggling, but.
He's one of many. I mean, I just think the whole team's a mess. I have thoughts, and we'll get.
But it's his. We said over and over last year. Yeah, last year, but his decision making was what kind of separated him. He was never throwing balls that were risky. He wasn't. His RPO, he was handing it off when he should have thrown it. There was 2 or 3 plays that he didn't hand the ball, the RPO. The guy had a hole. He keeps it and threw it to Goddard for like a 3-yard completion or 2. That's been bad. His decision to keep it or give it to Swift or whoever has been bad. It's just every aspect of decision making this year has been awful.
And he's getting like too much happy feet in the pocket. Like he
bows too quick out.
First read's gone and he's bailing. He's taking away a whole side of the field because he's going to his strong side, which everybody knows that's what he's good at. So Seattle's all over that. So now you just took away half the field. So he's one of many problems. I mean, he's a problem for sure, but there's other problems. The defense is still not good. They look confused. The wide receivers look confused in a couple of plays. Offensive line to me is still an issue. They have big problems.
Chalky.
Look, like many sports, football can be a game of inches. In the New England game and in the Washington game, that fell in Eagles' favor when a receiver had a toenail out of bounds, or it was just a great play, but it wasn't. They got the luck of it was the right call, but the luck of the call that ended the game or got the ball back in those two situations. And in that last drive, I mean, they were inches away from sacking Locke to get a safety. Metcalf makes that catch where he pins it on with Bradbury's arm on the ground. So that was almost not a catch. If Bradbury's arm's not there, he's not making that catch. And then Smith and Jigba makes a great play, but he's bobbling that, and he gets possession at the last possible second for his knee to be considered down and inbounds when he slid. And they put themselves in that situation because they didn't execute enough. And to me, it was somewhat similar to the Jets game because they had a feel, they score on the first drive and they lead the whole game. I know Seattle tied it up, and then they came back down and scored. So, it felt like they were in control most of the game. And then, I mean, really, it was the first Hurts interception where they're going to probably get at least a field goal shot out of that. And I'm sorry, Quez Watkins shouldn't be in the field. If he's on the field, he should be running a straight go route, and if nobody decides to cover him, then you throw him the ball. I know he was held. It was clear interference. Shouldn't have been thrown his way in the first place when there's a receiver, when there's a D-back within 2 yards of him, because he can't make a contested catch. So he shouldn't be on the field. That was a bad decision to try to go for that throw. And then, bad decision last play.
It was also a bad pass, too. He underthrew him. I mean, the pass
it was a bad pass. I mean, if you want to say he's okay, give him a little slack because he's sick with the weather. You shouldn't be throwing that ball. Look at the two touchdown drives were slower, methodical, work your way down the field drives. They came out and they scored in the first drive. It was an 8-minute drive or whatever. Okay, you feel good about that. And then I think the second touchdown drive might have been 7, where they had the one drive. Oh, that's the other thing with inches is that Jason Kelsey moved the ball an inch too much, and easy touchdown got turned into a field goal, so that didn't go their way either, even if it's the legal, if that's the right call to make on the offsides there. But instead of 3rd and 1 at the 2, it's 3rd and 6 and you don't convert. But they had a couple really long drives, but when you don't get touchdowns, it takes a lot of time off the clock and you're not giving yourself a lot of points. And those 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, I mean, the one ended the game and the other one really kind of turned it back. And the defense shouldn't have gave up a 92-yard drive in the end, but they only gave up 20 points. If you can't put 21 up against the Seahawks, you're not playing well, and they are not playing well. And I don't know what constitutes a real 10-4 team in the league at this point, because there's a couple 10-4 teams that I still don't think are as good as the Eagles, but they're in trouble. I mean, if anybody still thinks they're a Super Bowl contender at this point, they got a lot to do to really justify that, and I don't know if they have it in them.
So who at 10-4 don't you think is as good as the Eagles?
I don't think the Lions are as good as the Eagles.
I think the Lions will beat the Eagles in the playoffs.
I mean, Lions almost lost 2 games to the Bears, and then they had another game. I mean, the way the Eagles have played the last week or last 2 weeks, sure.
The Eagles stopping that passing game?
No, I think the Eagles are more talented, but maybe they don't get it together. I don't know. But the Lions have lost to some bad teams. They got destroyed on Thanksgiving at home by a very mediocre Packers team. And the Bears should have beat them in Detroit, and the Bears did beat them in Chicago.
I just think the passing game would just beat the Eagles, wouldn't stop it.
I mean, but the Bears have a very good defense. Bears defense is playing really well.
But still have the potential to improve back to, that defensive line is playing awful. So if that defensive line plays back to...
Are they getting old? Is Graham...
some of that is it, sure.
I mean, Cox is I don't think they're getting old. I think it's their young guys are starting to do nothing.
Has Jordan Davis played for the last 6
he's
weeks?
awful, right? Because Cox has been their best lineman.
They're doubling Carter,
who's still getting pressure at times. But no, Davis has killed them. He's been Reddick was non-factor.
Yeah,
so
the pass rush.
But they can. I mean, we've seen 3 weeks ago we laughed at Buffalo. Coach should be fired. Now they're a Super Bowl team again. So, I mean, in the NFL, things go up, things go down, things can go back up. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you can turn it around, but
opponents.
You don't want to be trying to have to do it this late in the year, which is why, like, the defensive switch. I mean, if it was the only move you could do to get better, fine. But it comes across as a panic move of sorts this late in the year, and they got three games against two bad teams, and if they can't
they'll win these games.
blow these teams out, then it'll be in probably still a second round, but an early exit because they'll beat Tampa or New Orleans or whoever else they draw if they win the division still. So
I think there's one team they won't. We'll get into that.
Meeker?
Yeah, you guys covered a lot of what I wanted to say. I mean, you start the game on a nice 8-minute drive where you're running the ball 10 out of 15 times effectively. And then after that, you score basically 10 points in the entire game. I mean, the offense is simply out of sync and has been for 3 or more, probably more games. I mean, I think they played good against Buffalo, but they've been out of sync for 3 games. Sirianni wants to take the blame for the play calling, but, you got Hurts locking into receivers, missing open opportunities, not taking advantage of the middle of the field at all. Trying to extend plays when his first look isn't there and failing to make anything happen when he slips out of the rush. And so I don't know if the play calling is 100% to blame or he just feels uncomfortable or what's going on with him. But he's just not playing well at all. And the offensive line has also been suspect, like Jason mentioned earlier. I mean, you got Kelsey making a couple mistakes in the last couple games of false starts. Lane Johnson's getting beat on the rush more than I've ever seen. I don't know if you're noticing that, but that's happening. I don't know if that has anything to do with his injury or what. And, they have to get right. I mean, obviously, these last 3 games are easier games, and this is the time that you can get right, but things are going south pretty quick in a really bad part of the season. And, I know that you guys talked about, Jason brought up when I wasn't on, the luck factor that they've had. I think did you talk about that? Because I didn't listen to the show when I was on vacation, but how lucky they were getting. And they're getting fortunate, or whatever you want to call it, and teams were making the mistakes that were costing them to win the game against the Eagles, and now it seems like they're making the mistakes and they're not and then the teams are capitalizing on their mistakes. And now it's costing them, and it's coming at a really bad time, and they look like a team that can't beat anyone right now. But they have 3 winnable games coming up, so all they need to do is sweep these 3 games and they'll win the division. But I really think they miss Steichen, they miss Gannon more than we might have thought that they would have been missed, because these 2 guys are just not doing the job from the play calling point of view. And I don't understand, like you were saying, Chalky, when you have a time in the game where you can put the game away. Now they could at least gone up a touchdown, and your best play with 8 minutes left in the game is to throw a 50-50 ball to Quez Watkins.
That's not their best play. That was a series of routes that were run on a play, and Hurts made the decision to throw the ball.
That's what I meant. Like, that decision is your best decision. I mean, because
the way they removed the ball that drive, I expected it to be like the end of the Tampa game where they just 7-minute drive to run the clock out, and that would be it. Like, maybe they kick a field goal towards the end or they punch it in, but it was. I mean, I think some of it is play calling. Maybe they're not giving enough plays, but some of it has to be. I don't know how much they're also telling Hurts, like, you just can't lock in on AJ Brown and throw him the ball.
The subtleness that you don't pick up on is the prior to the 15 seconds when the offense corner is in Hurts' ear. And last year it was Steichen, so is Steichen saying, don't Quez is going deep. If he's not there, don't take it. Look for the short. Is Johnson not doing it? I mean, a lot happens. A lot of coaches are very verbal in the ear of the quarterback, and it cuts off with the 15 seconds.
I mean, I think
so. Maybe it's
got to be part of it.
But at the end of the day, Hurts
because everything no, he is, because he's the one executing it. If he's locking in, and if no one's telling him not to, he's doing it, or if someone's telling him not to and he's still doing it, that's a real problem. But to what Meeker said, they killed teams the most in the middle of the field last year throwing the ball, and they're not doing it.
Nope.
See, I think a big part of it, and I didn't watch the Manning cast, but I saw after, like, their plays are becoming predictable now.
Yeah,
like,
McCaffrey
just sat there and said, "Oh, this is what we're going to do," and that's what they did.
Play.
Like, he's a running back who isn't probably not even sitting in the room that's studying their plays. So it's like, are their plays, like I said, like they were the #1 offense last year. So
everybody watched every play
sat
of
there
that,
and watched every Eagles play and figured out what.
And
they
a
were
lot
doing.
of that, a lot of it is that, and Hurts hasn't
Correct.
been able to adjust to
They
that.
figured out, yes, and both brought it up after the San Francisco game. We gave everybody a blueprint of how to slow down Hurts or whatever he said.
The problem
So far-
I go back to though is the decision making, but it's probably because it's not
Because
natural.
you're
He's
taking away
confused,
the
and now
first-
he's forced to. It just kind of trickles.
Yeah.
It's like a snowball effect.
When
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
when you're up by, what were they up at the time? They were up by 4, right? It's a low percentage play. Like, that's a terrible decision for him to throw the ball there. I mean, and Quez
Watkins had a
has
step on the
to
guy. Watkins had him beat, and he also underthrew the ball. I mean, if he throws that ball where it should be, it's either a
He got
completion
interfered
or.
with. We were talking
Quarterbacks-
about that, Jason. He got interfered with. And Watkins got to be smart enough, honestly, to just fall down and sell that interference.
Watkins
Well,
wasn't catching that even if it where it had to be, because as soon as
Yeah.
he grabbed his jersey,
So-
Watkins can't make a contested catch.
So let me be
Yeah,
devil's
it's-
advocate here and say, all right, let's blame Howie Roseman then, because I'll say a lot of quarterbacks in the league are going to throw that ball and say, I'm expecting my receiver to fight and make.
Oh
a play
no,
on the ball.
Watkins shouldn't be on the team. I mean, we said that.
shouldn't be on
From,
the team.
yeah, he's
Now,
not
if
a
they
number.
have a better third
he's
wide
awful.
receiver that could go and get that ball. You know what I mean? Like
I
a lot of
mean,
quarterbacks
Watkins
are
has
gonna throw
made
that
0 plays this year. 0 plays.
Yeah,
I can't think of
he
one.
shouldn't- No,
Zik-
he
I mean,
shouldn't be on the team.
Julio Jones is 4 years old. Zacchaeus has made a couple plays at least. At least
I
put
can't
him in
believe
there. I don't know.
Watkins made the team.
Yeah, he shouldn't. No, that's another. He shouldn't be 100%. But
If
regardless,
that play was for A.J. Brown, we probably wouldn't be sitting here
then
saying
he's
it was a
throwing that
terrible
ball.
decision, because
He wants his
probably
receiver to go
gets
get
it,
the
to be
ball.
honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could at least argue, well, A.J. Brown can make a contested catch. Maybe you shouldn't force him the ball all the time, but he can go up and make a contested catch. Quez Watkins cannot do that. And maybe he had a step, he thought, oh, well, I'll throw it out, and it didn't work out that way. But I'm not throwing it to Watkins if there's a defender within a 2-yard radius, because he doesn't come down with those balls.
Well, he forced it on the last drive, too, and it
Well, that
cost
was
him.
horrendous.
That
Well,
was, it's like, oh, we thought we might get a pass interference call. They're saying, like,
that
sucks.
was.
I know that wasn't really what they were trying to
He
say.
was just
but
covering, trying to figure out
Yeah,
to make
I don't
Hurts
know.
not put Hurts under the table. The other problem to me is the defense's complete inability to get a turnover. They
Well,
don't even come close to getting
They
turnovers.
don't get a pass rush at all.
They don't.
So
Right. They don't
that's
do
how you get
sack for. There's
turnovers.
exactly.
You're
Yeah. So it's
forcing
the
the quarterback
defensive
to
line is the
throw.
problem, more so than the secondary. It's the defense.
Well,
You got.
both.
Yeah, but
Both.
this team is built. Their investable dollars, for the most part, on defense goes to that D line, and the D line is playing subpar. So when most of your asset is in one part of the field, and they're underperforming, you're going to not be that good, right? On defense, because that's where the bulk of your talent is getting paid.
And I saw Shaq Leonard on one play.
Yeah,
He was all confused.
Yeah,
and
Seth
he might
Joyner
not. He might not
might
even
be-
know all the plays yet.
That might also be the reason why the Colts
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
I mean,
horrendous
it probably doesn't, and then they
defense.
just switch
Cut 'em.
coordinators. Like, I mean, yeah, he's.
Seth Joyner was burying their linebackers
Amazing
after the
to see.
game on a post-game show.
Yeah, I mean,
Saying
they-
that,
oh,
you know,
they're
they,
terrible.
have
they
it.
really missed. Their defense is really missing quality linebackers that they had last year. You know, obviously they don't this year. And
Well, we said that in the
he's
beginning.
basically
I
saying
thought.
they're not in the play. You know, Leonard has nothing left. He's got 0 speed, 0 power, and if that's the only guy you can get on the block, that's out there, because the rest of your linebackers are bad. I mean, you're just bad. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
I wasn't surprised that they didn't re-sign Edwards, but Edwards didn't get that big of a contract, and as of like a week or two ago, he was leading the league in tackles, I think. So he's doing okay on a pretty good defense in
player.
Chicago. And obviously they put a lot of stock in Dean, and he was terrible in pass coverage, pretty good in running, but he's been hurt twice, so he's not on the field. He can't help you on the bench.
The Eagles, the reason why last year is guys that you don't expect played above what they thought. They're never going to invest in linebackers, but the Eagles' inability to draft a linebacker in the 3rd and 4th round that's good is killing them. Their inability to sign how many teams get guys you never heard of? They're not like big names in college, but they're late picks. The Eagles, for whatever it's worth, can't find linebackers because they're never going to pay them. So they have to find ones like an Edwards, who kind of he wasn't anything. They got him cheap, and he turned out to be a good player. So if they can't do that, they're going to always have bad linebackers.
I mean, look at I can't think of the guy's name now. They brought the one guy in the Super Bowl year. He was pretty decent. He beat up somebody with an umbrella down in Miami at some point.
Nigel Bradham.
Nigel Bradham.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was before that, and he played well for a couple years.
Right, and he probably made $1 million,
Yeah.
a $2 million contract, and he played better. Right, and they were good that year, their defense. So that's what it comes down to. If they're not scouting these ones that aren't going to get paid,
I mean, they haven't drafted a good linebacker since Jordan Hicks, who another guy couldn't stay healthy, but he was good when he could stay healthy, but they don't spend early picks on linebackers,
which is fine, but you have to be able to scout then and find that diamond in the rough type of guy.
Listen.
I mean, their guys are Morrow was cut 3 times, and he shouldn't be on the team. Cunningham's not bad, but he's hurt. I'm not sure if he's playing Monday, but
can you name one player on the team that has gotten better during this year from game 1 to game 14? There's not one player.
Penny.
I think.
Penny. He had that one run in that one game. His second run was better than his first.
I mean,
so that's what I would say.
I guess you could say Swift, because Swift didn't really touch the ball in the first game, and then he's had some good games since.
Swift has actually dropped off a little bit from the couple of those big.
Oh no, he's not at his peak, but they didn't use him at all the first game.
No, but that's not.
I'm not a fan of Swift.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who you say.
Enough, honestly.
Reddick, maybe. I mean, Reddick's at least getting sacks now. He wasn't doing anything the first couple games, but he's not consistent.
Yeah, but to Meeker's point, they're not as a lot of like Kansas City last year. They win because they get, as the season goes on, the defense that wasn't looking great gets better and starts to play better, and the players start, and a rookie develops, and this guy develops. Yeah, that's not happening. No question.
And no one like that, like no one who was like, a bench player of some sort has given them any spark.
No, like a Sidney Brown, who's a rookie.
Yeah.
By game 14, he should be better than he was in game 3, and his game 14 was the worst game a safety's ever played football.
I mean, I didn't think Ringo looked that bad.
Ringo.
I still leave him out there.
I think he's going to be starting over Bradbury.
I mean, maybe try Bradbury in the slot. But Maddox is now off he's got the 21-day window, so playoffs he should be back. It sounds like, but
they're missing him. He's a big piece that they're missing right now.
That's part of the reason getting killed in the middle of the field. But I don't know that he's going to make the difference on the defense if the linebackers can't cover anybody and the pass rush doesn't get home. It's not going to matter.
All right, well. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and they just in that last drive, they continue to allow teams to get first downs on 3rd and long. I think he had 3 third-down passes of over 7 yards that he completed, and they brought no pressure.
Because they had no pass rush. That's why.
But even the one, but that was still it was actually the one play it was 3rd and 10 DK's pass. They called the right play. They had safety help over the top. They had Sidney Brown just didn't get there. He saw the play and just didn't get there. And then instead of trying to he kind of slows up to let him almost catch it and figures I'll try to dislodge it after, which didn't work as well. So, I mean.
Metcalf. You're going to dislodge it from Metcalf.
But, I mean, it just wasn't, they're not executing. Their players are playing poor. I mean, that's what it's coming down to.
That was somewhat of a lucky catch, because he was pinning it against his leg, but this is the type of stuff.
No, I'm talking about the one down the sideline.
On the sideline?
The sideline one, yeah.
But, I mean, look, Seattle got fortunate, too, on that drive. And, those are the type of things that are now happening against them that weren't happening against them. And they're 10 wins. And, things are just turning the opposite direction. And it's
they got 3 games to figure it out. And one of them is Christmas Day. And our boy is coming to the link. Tommy Cutlets. I don't think we have to spend too much time on this segment, but Jason, give us a little preview.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just what the defense needs because they absolutely do not have the game that will expose the Eagles' pass defense because DeVito is not going to.
They're like in the 30, ranked 30 out of 32 in both sides of the ball in every category.
They're not throwing the ball, so this is going to play right into the Eagles' hands. You know, all these last 3 games for that matter. I mean, Arizona could. Throw
Arizona potentially.
McBride's pretty good actually. They might have trouble stopping him, but these are all winnable games, and Super Bowl bandwagon will be back up and running again after these games and all. But there's no way that they're losing to the Giants.
And that line's open 11.5 and went to is there why it went up to 13.5 already?
I
Just
think like
bets?
30 to 10, something like that. That's my prediction.
Chalk.
If they can't blow this team out, then I might not even bother watching the last 2 games. Giants are very bad, and Eagles are not playing well, but they still should be able to I was going to say 31-10, so it's close to, I guess, with Jason. Was that exactly
31-10,
is that exactly what you said? Keep it with that.
No, I said 30-10.
30-10, okay. I'll say 31-10, but I mean, DeVito, we like every good Italian, he tried to shake down that restaurant owner for an extra 10 grand over in Jersey.
That was the
agent.
That was that sleazy agent. He's
like
from
any,
where's he
like
from?
any good
17th
businessman.
and Wolf?
They look like Rocky, when Rocky had the hat on.
Yeah.
They look like every kid I went to high school with.
Yeah, but so I guess the fairy tale for him is on hold for now. But nonetheless, 31-10.
No, it's a get right game for the Eagles. The Giants have very little to no firepower. We saw that last week against. I had to watch that offensive display against the Saints last week, and the Saints moved the ball pretty well against them too. So I think it's a get right game for the offense too. I'm going to predict 27-13. I think the only way the Giants stay in the game is if they can run the ball, and the Eagles have shown that they might have a problem against the run, but I don't see them making it a real game. So 27-13 is my prediction.
Yeah, nothing I'm going to add. I actually had 31-13, so we're kind of all lingering in the exact same scores, so we'll see how that works out, but nothing really to add. I mean, I thought the 2-point movement in the line, see what it goes to, see if it gets to a full 2 touchdowns by the time Christmas rolls around. All right, let's move on. Let's go to around the league. We said we're going to talk a little bit about where we're at today with playoffs and division. So let's do that. Guys want to do like how we do with the others, where we go through a division, who's going to win that division, and then give your playoff teams at the end, or did you just want to each guy kind of give a spiel?
Yeah, I mean, we're at like a half hour, so I think that would make the show go pretty long if we stop and do it.
I mean, there's a couple divisions that are a close race if you just want to do those 3 maybe or something.
Yeah, I would just have everybody shoot out their division winners, and then we'll go around and do that, and then come back and do everybody's wild cards, and then
that's what I meant. Yep. Yeah. So there's not a lot to really go through. AFC East, Jason.
Yeah, Bills. I think the Bills are going to win that division. I think they're going to come back and win these last 3 games.
Meeker?
My question is, if Buffalo beats Miami in the last game of the season, do they hold the tiebreaker over Miami?
Well, they got to win their last 3 games. Yes.
I'm assuming they are.
They won the earlier game against Miami, yes.
So okay.
They would have 2 wins against Miami.
So I'm going to pick the Bills too, because if they hold that tiebreaker, if they did beat them earlier in the season, then I think the Bills are going to win the division as well.
Yeah, that's at Miami, just right? Mm-hmm. Chalky?
I just think Miami's a fraud. I don't think they haven't beaten anybody.
I mean, Miami's schedule is Dallas, Ravens, Bills. Bills go Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. So it could easily be same record going into the last week or just 1 game difference. I'll go Bills too, because I think if they get within a game, they'll be playing well enough that they can maybe beat Miami down there.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Miami. I think Miami takes that game the last week of the season. So in Miami, so I'll stick with Miami. West is KC. I mean, nobody thinks Denver, right?
No.
The North, Baltimore. Nobody's gonna catch them.
Baltimore's got a really tough schedule, but
they do have a tough schedule. But
I don't think Cleveland could Could catch
But
up.
They have
here's
2 games at home.
Baltimore just has to win one more game, so they
Yeah.
should do that.
and then this is the best one. I mean, the South. This is 8-6, 8-6, 8-6. Jason.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Jacksonville. I mean, obviously the Chargers are the most disappointing team in football, but Jacksonville is right there for me. Like, what? Why are they so? I mean, I know one reason why they're so bad is Trevor Lawrence is not improved. Like, he's not taken a step forward. He has been bad this year. He makes dumb decisions.
I was gonna say he's another decision maker. That's
Makes
poor.
bad decisions. He's got all the tools in the world. You know, I'm still going to pick Jacksonville, but they are a disappointment to me.
Yeah, chalky.
I mean, the wild card is Lawrence, I guess, may not play this week because he's still in concussion protocol. So that's going to be a tough game for them to win. I'll say, Texans. I'm going to say Colts. They're the only one right now that, even though it's the second string, has a healthy quarterback. And they have Falcons, Raiders, Texans. So not the most difficult schedule. So I'll go with the Colts.
Yeah, Meeker.
I'm going to stick with Jacksonville. I think they hold on to the division. Now, he's in concussion protocol as of today.
He still didn't.
So,
He didn't
Yeah,
practice.
I don't believe he practiced today.
He did not.
That-
But here's the
well,
thing. So I got Jacksonville.
problem.
I have them actually losing this game, but still winning the last 2. So if they go 2-1, and I have looking through the Colts schedule, I have them going 2-1. They would still win. They still take the division.
Yeah.
With 2. So that's why I'm sticking with Jacksonville as well to win. All right, NFC East. Jason. I mean,
Oh, yeah, the
you got
Eagles are winning
Eagles. Meeker.
Agree.
Chalky.
Yeah, they're still like minus 250.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
that's
got
the-
Eagles. West is San Fran. North, Detroit, right? So the South. Start with you, Meeker.
Tonight's a big game. And the Saints play Tampa Bay next week. And it's at Tampa Bay. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor. And I think the Saints lose that game. And I think Tampa Bay holds on to win that division.
Chalky.
I'm going to go Tampa as well. I think their schedule is a little easier, especially if Lawrence doesn't play. And right now, Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the division, believe it or not. And Atlanta just switched to quarterback again. So I'm going to say Tampa.
Jason.
I agree. Tampa
Yeah,
Bay.
I actually had Tampa Bay as well. All right. So here are some wild cards. This is where it gets a little interesting. Jason, in the AFC, who do you have as your 3?
So since I have the Bills winning the division, I'll have the Dolphins. I have the Browns, and I have the Colts.
How about you, Chalky?
I'll go Dolphins, Browns, Jaguars, since they gave the South to the Colts.
Mika.
Yeah, I have Cleveland and Miami because Buffalo wins the division, and also Indianapolis. And I don't know all the tiebreakers, but I have a feeling there's going to be at least 2 or 3 teams that are got the same record at the end of the year. And I think Indianapolis beat Denver earlier this year. So if that's the case, then they're going to win that tiebreaker from a head.
Well, it depends though, because if it's like 3
There's a
teams
three-way
tied,
tie?
it doesn't
Yeah.
go head to head
Yeah.
and gets goofy after that. So
I'll
I
still
had
stick with the Colts, though.
Buffalo because I had Miami, Cleveland, and Indianapolis. So nothing really, I mean, outside the box for anybody. All right, the NFC, Jason.
Cowboys, Rams, Seahawks.
Chalky.
Cowboys. Vikings got to play the Lions twice, so I don't know.
That quarterback,
Yeah, Cowboys, Rams, Seahawks, I guess.
Can't see that quarterback getting them in the playoffs.
They're like a disaster now.
Because the Rams don't have to play the Seahawks again, so they're not going to cancel each other out. So they all have winnable games, and San Francisco ain't playing. They're not going to play them guys the last week against LA probably. So I think both those teams can get in.
Meeker.
Yeah, I got the Rams going 3-0 in their last 3 games, so they're going to make the playoffs along with Seattle and Dallas.
So I have Dallas, Seattle, and I actually have the Saints winning because I think the Saints are going to win tonight. So I think that's going to be ultimately
Big game.
what puts it
Sure.
in. All right. So was that we just wanted to go through the playoffs? We weren't going through like the playoff brackets, right?
I mean, I had thoughts. I mean,
yeah. Right. We can give thoughts, but we're not going.
Yeah,
head
I
to
want
head.
to go bracket to bracket.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I mean, my only thought was, I think the Eagles win the division. I think the only way that they don't win that first game, I think there's a way that they lose, is I think the Rams could beat them. If the Rams get in and Stafford's healthy and they come with that passing attack with Pakua and Kupp and that Williams running backs, I think the Rams could beat the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles could lose to the Saints. I don't think they could lose to Tampa Bay. I don't think they could lose to Seattle. I don't think they'll lose to Seattle here. So that's my thought there. I don't know if you want me to take it further than that. But
Yeah. No, keep going. Yeah.
I just don't see
thoughts.
this. I keep saying, I was saying all year, 49ers, Eagles, 49ers, Eagles. I don't see the Eagles getting to the NFC Championship game. They just don't. This team's flawed. I don't know if the Cowboys and 49ers could play each other in the championship game. I guess there's a way that they can.
I think because if the subpar
the
team
Rams beat the
wins,
Eagles,
and
right.
right.
Right, that's true. I mean, my thoughts are, I like I mentioned earlier, I think the Lions could come here and beat the Eagles. I definitely think Dallas could beat the Eagles here. I think it's 49ers Cowboys in the NFC Championship game, and I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the Bills are going to get Bills and Ravens in the AFC. I think the Bills are on a roll. I think they keep it going. I could go on, but maybe you guys go, and then we'll get to who are the Super Bowl matchups.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I did not really give that thought. I wasn't going through the playoffs because, I mean, we don't even know who's going to be in the playoffs. Like, teams you're saying might. So one thing I think Tampa Bay is sneakier than people give them credit for. You look at some of their efficiency metrics. They're there. They're up there, sneakily up in the top 10 in some of the categories. So that's just one thought I had. Is I think Tampa could be one of those. I still believe it's a year of the worst football I've ever watched in my 41 years. It's literally the worst football I've ever watched. Week after week, it's bad football. And in horse racing, you would always say bad horses win bad races. And I still believe there's going to be a bad team in the Super Bowl this year, and a bad team might win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's Tampa. I'm just saying I still have that feeling that it's going to be a year, like 10 years from there, you're going to be like, that team won the Super Bowl? Did that really happen?
But here's the thing,
So,
though. The 49ers are
49ers
third all time
they're-
and DVOA at this point. So, like, if it's
they're not a
them,
bad team. So
if
they
it's
could
not
just be a
them-
dominant team in a bad league.
Right. If
and
it's
they
not
could
them,
just smoke
I would
everybody.
agree, but they could just be this super team.
But they also aren't a team that really has overcome any adversity in their games when they had to.
They have to stay healthy.
And they got to stay. Yeah, they still have
stay
to.
healthy.
And
If they don't
still
stay
have to
healthy, all bets are off. But if they're healthy, there ain't anybody beating them.
But yeah, that's just it. Chalky. Any overall thoughts? And take it to Jason's level if you have it.
If the Eagles don't draw Cowboys or 49ers for the championship game, they make it the championship game. Goff and Stafford aren't coming here and winning in January. That's not happening. So they'll get by those teams. AFC, I really don't have a clue. These last couple of weeks are going to determine whether I can buy Baltimore again or not.
Yeah,
sure,
but it's not even that.
Beat the 49ers.
Playoffs is when you got to see.
Well, the playoffs, listen.
Don't get the bye, but
I think this is the latest in the year that the two Super Bowl favorites have met during the regular season. This Sunday, the night game on Christmas. So if Baltimore goes into it's the highest profile game of the year potentially, right? If they go in there and they finally, San Francisco loses as a healthy team, I have to give them credence, but I don't expect them to do that. But if they play them close and then finish strong, I mean, AFC, if you're not Mahomes, who else has a pedigree in the AFC of getting to the Super Bowl? Nobody in there right now, really, because Burrow's out. So there's nobody. Who else is there? So flip a coin. I mean, I would say if Buffalo wins out, they're going to have as good a shot as anybody, maybe. Unless, Ravens really are that good, but I'm not ready to buy them yet.
Meeker?
Yeah, I agree with Jason in the way that they're playing, that the Lions could beat the Eagles if they end up playing them in the second round. Jason has the Rams beating the Eagles, right? Did you say they can? Well, you didn't say they would, but
I
you said
would probably pick them if they played them. I would.
Yeah. If that was the case, then Dallas will end up playing Detroit, and I think Dallas can beat Detroit and play San Fran in the championship. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Eagles will get by the first round, but it'll be Detroit and San Fran in the NFC Championship. I think San Fran's going to win that game. In the AFC, the way Buffalo's playing, yeah, I agree with you too, Jay. I mean, I have them going against Baltimore in the AFC Championship, and the only modest, possible upset I have along the way is Cleveland getting to that second round. That might not even be an upset, to be honest.
They're tough.
Depending
They're
on
a
who they
tough
play.
team, man. They're tough.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit weird because of the circumstances. You have Joe Flacco quarterbacking right now. I mean, they're down to their third or fourth quarterback, but their defense is playing lights out.
He's probably their best quarterback. He's been their best quarterback of any, even Watson.
He has.
It's
crazy.
Watson.
Yep. And so, I guess Cleveland can make a deep run, but the way Buffalo's playing right now, I mean, I think every team in the AFC should be on guard. But I have Baltimore and Buffalo in the AFC Championship. I'm going to reserve any kind of prediction on that until it happens and see how the teams are playing going into it. But I would say Baltimore at this point, but this will be what if they make the playoffs and win all 3 games and win the first round, would that be 7 straight wins for the Bills? No, they'll be on a roll if that's the case. They're a tough out.
Jason, did you want to finish? I know you still didn't you have a few more points?
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to get to the Super Bowl. I think they'll play the 49ers. I just think, like I said, if the 49ers are healthy, nobody beating them this year. Nobody.
All right. Anybody else before we move into the recap of the week? Jason,
do you want to talk about MVP possibilities or?
Oh yeah. I mean, MVP. Jason, you start. You said Purdy at the beginning of the year.
I said Purdy at the beginning.
I do think they're going to make a run for McCaffrey to try to. He's starting to get a lot of traction.
I hear people saying that, and the people that are saying it is Kurt Warner. Okay.
Yeah,
Kurt,
it's weird. Tom Brady came out. I think Brady came out and said it.
Kurt Warner, you also have Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. So you didn't have weapons. Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie. Come on, these guys all have weapons.
The only thing I will say though is that the award is getting a little bit carried away with. It's just quarterbacks are going to get it. It's like they need to change it to just the quarterback award.
But if you look at, Purdy's numbers, okay, he's in a system that's favorable to him, but he's putting up historic numbers in that system. His EPA is 0.41 right now. You know who's number 2? Allen at 0.22. That's his 0.41 is 4th best since 1999 and 2nd best since 2010 of anybody. And that EPA stat, 9 out of the last 10 MVPs have led the league in EPA. The only one was Cam Newton, who won, which, you know why he didn't lead the league in EPA. But
yeah, but I think it goes back to what the true essence of is the award really the most valuable player to the league? Is it the most valuable player to his team? Is it just we're going off numbers? Who has the best numbers? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying
he's the point guard of the best offense in the league, and everybody talks about there's no quarterback play anymore and this and that. He's a true quarterback. He's decisive. He's throws with anticipation. He's accurate. So he knows that offense.
Not to cut you off, but people watching on YouTube see Meeker getting up and fiddling around. Jason, do you want to just say what is it? What is
straight dives?
Right.
I saw the first play was a 1-yard run.
So he wants to watch the Saints.
Let's get this thing over.
All right. I'm just saying, he's a true quarterback who runs that offense. I watch the tapes. He gets the ball out to the right spots in the right situation and hits guys in stride. And, I just think people are they don't want to admit they were wrong about the guy. And then,
his being the last pick in the draft plays a factor,
to make every excuse in the book not to give him the MVP.
And the thing is, you can have an opinion that you don't think Purdy's as good as, he was the last pick for a reason. He's not wait next year when they 2 years. That's all fine. But if he deserves the MVP this year, regardless of anything, he deserves the MVP.
No
and
question.
if next year he stinks, then he stinks. Who cares?
Right. They figured him out in the offseason, which everybody thought they were going to figure him out this offseason. They didn't. So if they do, then – but like you said, you got to speak to what's going on this year.
Yeah.
He's the MVP.
All right, we lost. There we go.
Here.
All right, Jason, go through recaps. So we'll do our picks and let
let's
Mika
just-
watch this
Unless
nightmare.
you guys
Although
have
I
any
think
other
this,
thoughts. I mean, does anybody else have thoughts on awards or anything?
I would just say this. I mean, I think that this game, on Christmas against the Ravens, is big for both of these quarterbacks for possible MVP, because there's also a push for Lamar to win MVP. And
he's second.
say
I
what
think
you-
he's second, right?
Say what you will about,
I thought McCaffrey
and I
might
know,
be, but-
yeah.
Well,
well, say what you will
if
about
Ravens
it,
win
they're
out,
gonna get
including
their
beating
quarterback.
San Francisco, Lamar will get it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would.
If he shows
think
up
that.
and has a big game against the Niners, I think that there's going to be a push to give him the MVP, because I don't say what you will about him. If he got hurt, that team is offensively inept, and I think that's what an MVP really is.
That's what happened the
And-
last 2 years.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
I just hope it's McCaffrey because I gave him out at some large number on the preseason pod. So
Jason, recaps.
All right, so last week, over-unders, still more under than overs. 8 under, 7 over. On the year, it's 100 over, 121 under, 55%. For unders on the year, for the public went 10-5 with over-under, so they had a good year, a good week. They're 120 and 102, 54%. 8-8, so nothing to speak of on the spread. They're still 57% on the year. Let's get to our stats. So I bounced back. I had a 3-0 week, finally. So our Lions pick, which actually was a Twitter pick, which we should bring that up at the end, Tom, what our Twitter record is and stuff like that. But one with the best bet of the Lions, one with the Bills, money line against Dallas, and then I got the over-under in that wonderful Falcons-Panthers game. I got the under. Tommy bounced back, had a nice week. He was 2-1. He also had the Lions as his best bet.
Yeah,
He
Minnesota, this rat bastard should have won
Now,
that
if
game.
you would have picked the spread, would you have covered that? What was
It
the
was
spread
push.
at the time?
It was 3, I think, when we did it. Yeah, it would have been a push.
Okay, and then so you lost that money line, but then you did win the Saints. Finally, got a Saints win there. Chalky went 1-2. He did hit his best bet with the Commanders Rams under barely.
Just like Purdy's on a historic streak, Chalky's on one himself. Just
Chalky.
the opposite way.
I'd like to thank Ron Rivera for helping me get across the finish line with some of his decisions late in the game.
Oh my God!
I mean, if
Disaster.
Oh my
They
God.
it took them 4 minutes to go 1 yard. And the goal they were on the 1 yard line in 4
and
minutes.
then he
It
doesn't
took-
go for 2.
And
They
then
didn't
he
go for
doesn't
2,
go
and
for
it
2.
got blocked
And he
anyway.
got blocked.
I'm
And then kicked an onside kick when they had 3 timeouts,
Yeah.
like with 3 minutes left or whatever.
Exactly.
I thought I was going to lose because I was like, well, LA's got to at least kick a field goal here. I'm going to lose.
He's bad.
You were very close to losing that. Steelers Colts under was a loss.
Oh, that meaningless field goal with 50 seconds left.
Wow. They missed a 40-yard field goal earlier.
I slept through a lot of the games, so I might not have seen
they
that.
they got the meaningless field goal after missing a 40-yard field goal that would have
Yeah.
already put it
Yeah,
over.
so you can't really. Yeah, I don't know. That's not really a bad beat in a sense because of that stuff. But
It's a bad beat at the end in that you got to
at
that
that
point,
point,
but
at that
yeah.
point, yeah. The Cowboys was not a bad beat though, Chalky.
That was a bad beating, but not a bad beat on the
beating.
pick.
Meeker 1-2, so back to the old Meeker. Steelers Colts under was a loss. We just talked about that. Meeker was belly aching to me over text in that game. See our prior discussion about why that really wasn't that bad of a beat. Lions Broncos under was a loss, but then you did win the Bucks. That was a nice pick. So you went 1-2, and just quickly run through best bets. I'm 8-6 on the year, profit of 130, 57%. 9% ROI, and 2011 lifetime, 65% lifetime percentage. Tommy 7 and 8, 47% win percentage. 17 and 13 lifetime, 57% win percentage lifetime. Very good. Chalky's very good on the years, 10 and 5. Profit of $407, 67% win percentage, 27% ROI. So very good best bets for Chalky. 19 and 13, so he's good lifetime also, 59%. Meeker's 8 and 6 on the year. He's also profitable. He's 57% win percentage, but his lifetime's not great. 14 and 17, 48% lifetime. For the year, we're 36 and 25. Very good. 7 and 57 profit, 59% win percentage, 12% ROI. Records for 2023. I'm 25 and 19. Profit of 354, 57% win percentage, 8% ROI. Tommy's 21 and 24. Loss of $394, 47% win percentage, minus 9% ROI. Chalky 21 and 23. Loss of $372, 48% win percentage, minus 8% ROI. Meeker's 22 and 20, pretty much even. Loss of $11, 52% win percentage, even ROI. Tommy and Jimmy D both, they're 6 and 1 combined, so they're great in the year. For the year, we're 95 and 87. Profit of $44, 52% win percentage, 0.2% ROI. Finally, all time. For the pod on, I did say pod for the year. All time, I am 58 and 38. Profit of $1,447, 60% win percentage, 15% ROI. Tommy's 49 and 42, $471 profit, 54% win percentage, 5% ROI. Chalky's 45 and 52, minus a loss of $1,063, 46% win percentage, minus 11% ROI. Meeker's 45 and 48, minus 700 or loss of $730, 48% win percentage, minus 8% ROI. We are profitable. As a pod, we're 197 and 180, $125 profit, 52% win percentage, 0.3% ROI. Our Twitter record is 12-6 and 1. So,
and when me and you have the same top best bet, what's our record?
We're 9 and 1. When Tommy and I both have the same best bet, we're 9 and 1. So,
all right, let's go through. So I won't pick the order this week. I'm gonna pick I have a number in my head. Whoever gets close to the number will get to pick the order. Jason, 1 to 5,000. What's my number?
32.
Holy shit! That's the number I had in my. That's the exact. So you get to pick the order, Jason.
Oh, I'm picking the order. I mean, we might as well go with Chalky again.
All right, Chalky it is.
He's used to it by now, right?
Well, everybody wants to hear that best bet first, most profitable play on the pod.
That's right.
All right. Best bet this week is Colts money line plus 120 against Atlanta. Second bet is going to be under in the Lions-Vikings game. It's under 47.5 minus 112. And the never winning third choice is going to be Bucks minus 3 minus 108 against Jacksonville.
Okay. Jason, who's next?
Mr. Meeker.
Okay, fair.
R2D2, could you repeat that? You're very mechanical.
He's frozen. He lost connection. All right. Well, I'll go.
I believe he was saying Seattle minus 3.5 minus 102.
Meeker, we got nothing from you. We got nothing, Meeker. Yeah.
You said Seattle minus 3.5 minus 102. Go ahead. What's next? Okay, Tom, go ahead.
All right, so my best bet, I talked them up. Yeah, we got you. Get better. You want to try it one more time?
Try to go one more time.
That went well. That went real well. We can now.
We hear you now.
This is a disaster.
I don't like the way it's starting though because I might have that. Oh, okay, good. KC Vegas over 41.
We got that. Yep.
Jim, what do you got for that?
What is it, boy? What is it, boy? Is he at the well?
110.
Who is it, boy? KC? Is it KC?
Over 41 minus 110. All right, so we got 2 picks. Tom,
He's gone.
we'll get his third.
All right, like I said, I talked about him a lot on this show, so I'm going to take him as my best bet. Tampa Bay -2, -110 against Jacksonville.
Well, hold on. Chalky had -3, right?
It's -3, -108.
Oh, that changed as of like.
I would rather have
as
it
of,
be
like,
-2, -110, but since I took them, they're -3, 108.
For you took Tampa, I honestly wasn't
Yes.
paying attention.
Obviously.
Oh man, yeah, that changed as of. Oh, I guess maybe more Lawrence news came out. I literally checked 20 minutes before we got on the show.
Yeah, it's Jacksonville's +3, 112. Tampa's -3, 108.
All right, so
Right
that
now.
changed. All right, then hopefully this didn't change. My second pick was Cleveland -3, -105.
-3, -102.
Okay. And then my last pick was under 37.5 in the Carolina Green Bay game. -110.
I believe that is still, yep.
So, I'm sorry, what was that number?
37.5 -110.
Under 37 minus 110. Okay. All right, so my best bet is going to be the 49ers. I think, they're just on a roll right now. And, everybody's all up in arms because Baltimore's getting 5.5 and this and that. I think they beat them handily. So I'm going 49ers -5.5. I think it's -108, Chalky, unless that changed. Yep, -108.
-108, yep.
Yep. And Tom, while we don't have the first best bet as the same pick, we do have our second pick as the same pick. So
Cleveland.
Browns -3, -102 is my my second pick. I like the way they're playing, man. I mean, I like Flacco. I think he's doing what he needs to do with the ball, and their defense is pretty good. And
Yeah, I think people are
Jacksonville's
over.
gonna not Jacksonville, but
Houston.
Houston.
They're gonna overreact to Stroud coming back like that. Yeah.
Oh, he's not coming back.
Oh,
not
he's still
playing.
not coming. Oh, wow, that's even better.
He's not coming. They're gonna
Yep.
overreact to Keenan.
Oh yeah, that's
Right.
right.
Yeah. And my last pick is going to be opposite Meeker. I'm going under in that Chiefs Raiders game, under 41 -110. Meeker, we need your third pick.
Well, hold on.
What's your bet?
Meeker already sent his picks by text, and he can't make his third pick. I don't know. He's got to pick something else.
No.
Is it the same as a chalky pick? Colts.
It's Indy. Indy plus was it 2.5, right? -105.
Well,
What
Chalky-
is the record when Chalky and Meeker team up? Do we know that one?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They lost
If it's
their
just Meeker and I don't think it's very good.
The Colts
I know
lost-
the last couple weeks it has.
I think
but
like if
don't
it's
know.
me, Meeker, and somebody else, that pulls it back up. But like we lost last week, and
The last
did we
few
or
times
did
I know.
Detroit 2 weeks ago or whatever
Yeah,
it was. We lost
yeah.
something.
So Colts plus 2.5. What is the?
105 was it?
5 and 105.
Yeah.
Plus
So
105?
just one thing on the San Francisco game you mentioned, because put a gun to my head, I picked San Francisco too. But like a week ago, I was hearing people say that on a neutral field, San Francisco was a minimum 5-point favorite against any team in the league. So that line coming out as low as it was kind of took me back a little bit to where I wasn't going to touch that game. Because if you figure 5 to start on a neutral field, they're home, I would have thought maybe 6.5, 7. But I think Baltimore's actually getting bet, so maybe that's what they want.
I mean, some of
don't
that
know,
too. You lay more than a touchdown. I gotta although Vegas does take sides, and we know they're also can't completely overexpose themselves. And
No,
they
I mean, they're only going to make an over/under so low.
right, and even like Baltimore getting 7, I feel like their exposure would be out of control.
I mean, if Baltimore's getting bet, and I gotta, pull it back up because I think they're getting bet at 5.5. So if it was 7,
yeah, it would be
so but
astronomical.
6.5. So it was a little on the low side, I thought, but
it's
like,
close. I mean,
in our picks league, I picked San Francisco, so that's who I would take at that
It's
line.
probably they're probably only getting 1.5 for being home because it's not 3 points anymore for a home team.
No, it's
No.
between 1 and 2, depending on the
1.5
team.
to
Some
2,
teams
yeah.
might get 2.5, but yeah, it
maybe
ain't
they're
San
getting
Fran.
2. So it's Vegas is saying they're 3.5 to 4 points better than the Ravens. I think they're better than that, more than that. But
Yep.
Either way, I think they win this game handily.
All right. Any props or touchdowns that we throw in at the end before we sign off, Jason?
Yeah, I'm gonna go right back to that game. I think Ayuk hasn't gotten the ball lately in the end zone, so I think he's gonna bounce back with a touchdown in that game.
All right. Anything from you, Chalky?
I always do the Eagles game, so there's only one player you can take this week. Boston Scott plus 320.
Oh, against the Giants. Wow, he's 320. I guess he don't touch, but he kills. That's crazy.
He doesn't get in the game, but
yeah, but he will.
Hopefully, he gets in this week in garbage time.
Yeah, they know. Meeker, did you have anything?
Puka Nakua.
Well,
He just scored.
Did he score?
Ah.
They went for it on fourth.
That'd be a good one.
I saw a car got sacked on third down in field goal range on the
Meeker, you
first
didn't
drive.
miss much.
It won't let me be on this podcast and have the TV on at the same time. I had to turn it off. It's probably
Is that
my
why
network was struggling.
Is that why Chalky's going to be up until midnight?
Well, it's a good thing we started early. He's using some cable that ran underneath the Atlantic. It's got cut somewhere.
Well, episode 86 of Broadsheet Hustle. Back next week. I think another regular Thursday. I don't foresee a problem. I guess we say Merry Christmas, right, to everybody. The next time we tune in will be after Christmas. So, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy holidays.